Hello, Adam, GM Adam, and hello, all you beautiful college basketball fans around the world. We have an international audience. If you didn't, in case you didn't remember.
I know.
Okay, a decent amount of Canada, a lot of Australia, and like Germany. Also, you'd be surprised.
Germans love
Um,
ball.
they do. Nonetheless, we are here with another episode. We were going to be in person today. We had some health deficiencies within the family. We hope everyone is okay. Not we hope everyone's okay. Everyone is okay. But we will be back in the studio next week in person, finally. And it's February already. Another good episode today. We had some crazy games this week. Darryn Peterson and Kansas took down BYU and AJ DeBanta. BYU also lost to Arizona. We'll talk about a lot of coaches today. Coaches that are coaching well, coaches of the year or coach of the year, and then coaches not coaching so well. Maybe some coaches on the hot seat that might get fired. We'll get into a bunch of other segments also. We'll talk about Nebraska, Michigan State, etc. And I'm also home from Utah.
Woo! How was your trip?
See the shirt, by the way. This is unreleased, by the way. If you know Utah apparel, Ties Dyes is the goat out there.
Yeah, I saw you. I
This
saw
is
you put that
see
out
the
there.
shirt,
It's
Spectrum
really
Magic.
sick. Yeah.
It's unreleased, so I don't know if I'm supposed to be showing this or not, but it's too late.
But
So,
I said that Germans love ball. Germany loves ball. Utah,
dude,
the state of Utah loves ball.
it's actually I knew that, but I wasn't prepared mentally for what I actually walked into, especially like when I got because my shitty travels I don't want to do this again. Um, I went straight to Provo from the airport. 13 hours of traveling on in airports and planes, and then I got into Marriott Center 10 minutes before tip off, and it was like smoky and hazy and 20,000 people going absolutely nuts with no alcohol in sight, and I was like, "Oh my god, where am I right now? Where am I?" It felt like I was at like a European soccer game or something like that. It was great.
I actually find it more impressive that they can make that level of noise without alcohol.
It's
So
the
that's like a
sugar.
bonus. That's bonus points to me for them.
It's people say it's the sugar, but really, I think it actually is just like because no, seriously, because they don't drink that much, and because they don't party and have all those social things to do, they love their sports more than anything. So basketball is a massive part of it, and they also donate a lot of money to it, so they want to see them win. It was awesome though. BYU was sick. Utah State was a lot of fun. Also, very opposite sides of the spectrum. BYU is like as modern, innovative, and grand as you can imagine, and Utah State is so like I told Eric this. College Hoops 2K8. If you wanted to be inside of a College Hoops 2K8 game, you put yourself in Logan,
Yeah.
Utah, in the best way.
Yeah. I will leave your Utah trip with this thought. The Utah State fans that you did this in your like long form YouTube video, which everybody should go listen to. The fact that they wear like basically doctor's rubber gloves because they realize it makes more noise
It's crazy. I
is
knew they wore
really
them.
cool.
I thought it was because they looked cool when they were blue, and then all of a sudden they're right behind me and they're clapping. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
what is
No, they
going
don't
on?
look cool actually. So I was wondering
No,
why
they
they did it.
do.
Well, they make noise, so who cares?
Yeah, they're rowdy. They were a lot of fun, and they printed out signs of me, which I was not prepared for.
The one of you, the one of you with the basketball jersey
Stop,
on,
stop, stop.
it
I
made me
was
laugh.
it was me from a men's league that I played in during like when COVID, like the second summer after COVID or something like that.
How
And
did
we
they
had a
find it?
what?
How'd they find the picture?
Dude, I don't know. I think I was like tagged in it. If you go to my Instagram and click like tagged, but I've been tagged in so many things over the years. Like how far did it's like 2022 probably or something like that. Maybe 23 at best.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. I'm glad you had a good trip. You saw two really good, well, one really good game and one really good atmosphere. So,
One really good team. Yeah, Utah
yeah.
State's they're cooking. They're cooking right now.
Oh yeah.
So maybe do we have a conversation for the best team in Utah? I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just.
Oh boy.
What about Weber State? Well, by the way, real fast. Stay there.
Oh, what's
We
happening?
stopped at Weber State. Thoughts on this?
Kind of fire.
I wanted to get the most wonky thing possible.
Do they have a Dame statue?
They have a lot of Dame stuff there. For anyone not watching, I got a Weber State crew neck, and it's miscolored gray and white arms, but I felt like that depicted Weber State well.
Speaking of 2K8.
Is that a team you used to use?
Yeah. All right. We spent 5 minutes talking about your Utah trip. That's pretty good.
Okay, let's get on with the content. I would be remiss and I think dishonest to myself if I didn't at least start off news and notes with sending my love and support to everybody around the country that's going through hard times right now and dealing with family issues, especially in the state of Minnesota with everything happening. It is insane what's happening. I can't believe it. I understand that everyone has varying political opinions. I'm not trying to get into that. All I'm saying is that what is happening in Minnesota has gotten to a point where even I want to at least send some love to anybody listening out there that is in the state and is witnessing all of this happening, and to love thy neighbor and be nice to everybody, because being kind is truly priceless. Basketball news and notes. Shall we start with? Let's start with Mark Turgeon. How about that? The most
Wow.
recent news for you, Mark Turgeon is being hired as the coach of
Uh,
UMKC. By the way, it's February 1st.
I did not see that coming. Well, it's not till next year, I believe,
I would
because
imagine so.
they're currently coachless, I believe.
Okay, well, interim, yeah. He is from KC, right?
Yep.
Is this like
Played
a
it,
retirement job for him?
played at Lawrence. I mean, I think the answer is yes. My understanding about he stuck around the DMV area, which is DC, Maryland, and Virginia, for those of you unaware. And he kind of just plays golf all the time and hangs out with his former players and assistant coaches. So
Okay.
his kids are, I believe, either done with college or in college at this point. So yeah, this is a going back home job. UMKC has never made the tournament. He's going to love that. He's not an expectations guy.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come on. A shot in the dark there.
I mean, look, my ill will for him is gone, to be honest with you, for the most part. He has kept quiet into himself over the last few years. Like I said, UMKC has never made the tournament. This is kind of going to be an easy job for him. He'll be a better coach than whatever they've had recently. And
Yeah,
it's the Kangaroos.
And just because they're the Kangaroos, the
Yeah,
Roos, right? Just
the
because he
Roos.
wasn't obviously great at Maryland, especially in the last couple of years of everything, doesn't mean he won't be a very good mid-major coach, especially at that level. So
Yeah, I mean,
Something-
he hasn't coached basketball in 5 years is the only thing. But yeah, I mean, good for Mark.
sure he'll be okay. Anyways, Mark Turgeon, coach.
Not the news I saw dropping today, by the way.
No,
Out of
was
nowhere.
that yesterday or something like that, or today, whatever it was? Yeah.
It was this morning out of nowhere.
Oh wow, what's this morning? All right, other news, not so good news. Jaden Quains, who has been in and out, he has only played a few games for Kentucky this year. Right now is in full shutdown in terms of his on-court work. That's an exact quote from Mark Pope. Kentucky has been rolling, and they're going to be. I don't know if they were in the top. They were not in the top 25 in the AP poll, but they probably will be this week after their two more wins again. That's not good for them. It's again, they've been rolling. They've been looking better. The SEC is kind of all over the place. The fact that Jaden Quains has now gotten to a point where he's been on and off, and now he's at a point where he is in full shutdown mode is pretty alarming. My gut take from this was that Kentucky's obviously not been great. Even though they're winning games, even though they're going to be in the tournament, they want to be as successful as they can. Jaden Quains and his agent and his team and his family are being very, very cautious around him and his health. And they're saying, hey, you know what? If we don't feel like it's worth it, we're not gonna make it worth it. We're not gonna make it happen. It's not gonna happen. He's not gonna play, and we're gonna shut him down basically. And kind of like the Shaden Sharp thing from a few years ago at Kentucky. Ironically, completely different coaching staff and system and everything. But it's interesting. I think in the world of players getting paid and players almost like I'm trying to word this properly. It's not like a negative egotistical thing. I think it's more of they become more hyper aware to their value than anything, and they know that
Yeah.
also translates to the next level in the NBA, where Jaden Quains is seen as like a lottery prospect right now. I don't know how you can draft him in the lottery because of him literally not playing right now, but he does have a ton of upside, ton of skill. I think he's just protecting his draft stock. I think he could play if he wanted to. Obviously, he's played a few games, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to talk about him soon, but is this that much different from the Darryn Peterson stuff? We'll talk about the differences there. But to your point, it's protecting something because you have a lot to lose if things go wrong.
Yeah.
I don't really blame his camp here. I think the Kentucky fan base is annoyed, but also probably happy that Mark Pope said it. I don't know if you've seen all this stuff, but they're like really mad about how little he's saying about the injury report. And that is
It's
not
clarity.
a fan base. That is not a fan base I would want to be under fire from.
It's clarity. It's what you're saying, right? Like that's
Yeah,
what they
it's
want.
like actual clarity, despite it not being good news. I mean, he's a role player because he hasn't played a lot, but he has the potential to be way more. So
Yeah, the second he came on in that one game, I think it was like December, right? He came on and he was like, in 10 minutes, it was unbelievable. He was the best player on the floor. He was great.
yeah, and he's great. He does it all.
So
It'll hurt Kentucky, but I think I would assume he's not going to play anymore.
that would be my guess also if I had to take on it. Someone who's trying to play college basketball is Amari Bailey. Amari Bailey is trying to be the first player who played in NBA games to come back to college basketball. I forget exactly how he worded it. something. I gotta find it actually. I want to see what he said because he said something about it, and I immediately was like, absolutely not. Like we are. Not
I would like
doing this.
Maryland to get Derek Queen back. Thoughts?
Not worth it. Team sucks anyway. So
Well, that was just an
Let's-
unnecessary dig by you.
let's just be honest here. The team, Maryland is literally the worst power team in the country right now.
I'm talking about for next year, but thanks, Ryan.
Okay, well, he's a little busy trying to win Rookie of the Year right now.
I know.
I gotta find this. This is great. I gotta find it. Anyways, whatever. Amari Bailey. This is people were mad, or not. People were big mad about at the people that got mad about James Najee playing because in hindsight he's been terrible. And Baylor's like 1-7 in the last 8 games or something like that. Like their worst conference start with under Scott Drew. It wasn't the fact that James Najee was gonna break college basketball. It was the fact that allowing him to play college basketball was going to break college basketball, and it would lead to Charles Bediako coming back to college, and then it would lead to Amari Bailey coming back to college, and then eventually it's going to lead to guys like Trey Mann and I don't know, random dudes that it's a random one I pulled because I thought of Amari Bailey on the Hornets, but random young guys like that coming back to college that were on legit NBA contracts because the NCAA has said that they draw the line on NBA contracts, which includes two-way deals. They specifically said includes two-way deals. Charles Bediako was on 3 Exhibit 10 deals. I actually found out he did get transitioned to a two-way for a couple of months before being waived, although he didn't get into NBA games, so maybe I'm not sure the situation on that. But he was mostly Exhibit 10s. Amari Bailey was drafted on salary on a two-way. He played in 10 NBA games so far in his career. And by the way, I liked Amari Bailey coming out of college, which is funny. Now he's trying to come back to college. This is the step that officially breaks everything, where NBA players will, like, if he is able to come back, why can't any two-way player that has any eligibility left say, I'm coming back also?
Yep,
like, at this point,
the floodgates would be open. But correct me if I'm wrong here.
it's February. It's February 1st.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. This is very far from like a sure thing that he's going to be allowed to play.
I don't know if I'd say very far. I think it's still far, especially because it is February. Yeah, he's an amazing player, and you throw him in. But like, say he goes back. He was at. By the way, I heard he was at the UCLA game. I don't know if I got duped on that or not. Say he went back to UCLA. It's not like he just understands the entire. Like he could play right away and spurt minutes, but February 1st, like it's not going to be so simple to just transition him to get ready for the tournament and everything.
I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about from a legality standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the NCAA is going to do anything because a court grants a TRO for 10 days, or like they do it twice, and all of a sudden it's March.
Yeah, that's fair. Right. So somebody can almost sneak him in, even though maybe it will be reversed in April or
this
whatever.
This is where the NCAA needs to step in, though, because they need to come out and publicly and be like, no, like we are not allowing this type of player to play. Like, he is not allowed to play.
Yeah. Or they could just say, hey, it's February. Sorry, tough shit.
They won't do, but I don't know.
No, they won't.
They didn't do Bediako. They didn't say a word until
it's a mess.
Too late.
By the way, shout out to the Florida fans today for when Bediako found out.
Yeah. They aren't the home court advantage. Maybe they should be for that. They were.
No,
they were
it was
chanting,
very. It was very funny.
G League something.
Yeah, G League dropout or sort
G
of
League dropout,
something like that.
And they whooped the shit out of Alabama.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's me. People are hate watching Alabama. Everyone's hate watching them. So
I'm just saying.
I said it's not me. Florida kids.
This would be
bad.
A very bad step in the wrong direction. But I am holding out a little bit of faith that it won't happen.
I don't think it's going to happen because it's February and teams aren't going to want to go through the headaches at this point of the year to jump through the holes and hoops to get him onto the team and also get him fired up and ready to go.
I also think, by the way, I don't want to drag this out, but like there's been a lot of comments from the coaching community, Izzo, Todd Golden recently. Like if coaches choose to go after him or somebody goes and lands him, like that will ruffle feathers in the coaching community for their peers. Like that coach will be looked on differently now.
Right, because Scott Drew and Nate Oates are the only two guys who have done it, and Scott Drew got a guy who's been terrible, and
Nate Oates,
what?
Nate Oates, duh.
He has done things before. I understand he's a different type of guy. He operates on different levels at times. And Todd Golden made that clear, and Nate Oates' rebuttal was, well, your guys sit in the paint for too long. Come on, are we serious with that?
Man.
Come on.
Whatever, man.
Come on. Anyways, Amari Bailey hopefully doesn't play college basketball. I get the hell out. I commented on the post about his quote, and he was tagged in, and he was in there. Like I saw him like it or whatever, and I said just like no, do not no. You're right.
Thanks.
We don't want you. So
nope.
Amari Bailey might play college basketball. Let's get on to home court advantage. All right. The home court advantage of the week, presented by none other than Home Field Apparel, goes to one of the best teams and maybe best mid-major that we've seen in a while, the St. Louis Billikens, obviously in St. Louis, Missouri. I think it's Chaffetz. Is that right? Chaffetz Arena?
Not a clue how to pronounce it.
I'm pretty sure it's Chaffetz Arena. Someone can correct me on that. I'm pretty sure I've heard that properly. St. Louis, one of the biggest games they've had in years in the regular season. The Arch Baron Cup hosting their rival Dayton in a 10 play on Friday night. They had a sold-out whiteout crowd of over 10K. It's like they fit like 10,200 and something people in there. I believe I saw this. It was the most expensive ticket to a St. Louis home game ever, if I'm not mistaken. The crowd was absolutely unbelievable, 10 out of 10. They had the students in the swim team in their swim jerseys and uniforms. You can do the math on what a swim uniform is. And then they kicked the shit out of Dayton. They ended up winning by 30. They looked amazing. And then after the game, Josh Schertz, not only at the bar like Chris Holtman did with DePaul a couple weeks ago, he was at the bar with students, buying them rounds, pouring them rounds, and taking shots with them. I saw him drink the blue stuff. I saw it. So shout out to St. Louis. Awesome, awesome home environment. I am trying to get out there. I might get out there in February. We'll see. It looks absolutely amazing. They're frying and rolling right now, and the fans are absolutely loving it. So
yeah,
it's awesome.
This is going to be the best season they've had in a very, very long time. I think Rick Majerus is smiling down, very happy with what he's seeing. Also, Ryan, you are the college basketball analyst here. Credit to me on Josh Schertz. I'm just throwing that out there. I've been on him since day one, and I think I said it in episode 1. So shout out to me, shout out to St. Louis, and shout out to Coach Schertz.
Wow, way to get greedy there, but sure. Shout out to you and shout out to St. Louis. Shout out to St. Louis more than anybody else, okay?
Yes.
All right. The biggest and most hyped game of the weekend, definitely even of the season, I feel like, with the anticipation it was getting, was BYU versus Kansas. College game day. Darryn Peterson, AJ DeBanza, seen as potential lead, number 1 versus number 2 pick. Magic Bird type situation people were talking about, whatever. The game itself did not live up to the expectations, I don't think, but Darryn Peterson did for 20 minutes. That was good.
I'd say so. Well, that's why the game didn't live up to expectation, is because he was so good for 20 minutes.
That's true. Let's focus on Darryn first, because that's obviously the biggest conversation. I want to lean on the positive. We could just look at it as a whole lens, I guess. Darryn Peterson had one of the most impressive single performance halves in recent memory. Considering the hype leading up into the game, how the magnitude of the matchup was in the Big 12 also, both those teams trying to stay in the race in the Big 12. It was one of the most impressive halves and performances I've seen in a single half in a long, long time. He had 18 points. I think he missed a 3. He didn't miss a single 2-point field goal. He had a couple of dimes. He had 3 steals, 18 points. The buckets he was getting were unfreaking believable. Like, he looks like he's playing a different sport out there. The way he moves, the way his body moves, he glides across the court. He's long, he's lanky, he gets to the rack. His finishing, switching hands midair. There was one, and I think he went into this game knowing this is the moment. This is the moment. I have to do something about it and make sure everyone knows who I am, and I am Darryn Peterson. It was the one play where he stepped in front of AJ on the wing for a steal, takes it all the way down to the left wing. I forget who went to set a screen for him, and it was AJ was defending him. He literally said, "Get out of the way," and he just took like 2-pound dribbles into the middle and took a nice tough midi 2 over AJ and drained it. And I was like, yeah, this guy is different. So he looks like the greatest player ever for 20 minutes, which is great. One of the most memorable performances we've seen in 20 minutes, but didn't play the entire second half, even when it got to a 4 or 6 point game, because of his muscle cramps again.
Yeah. I mean,
let's hear your thoughts.
He is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft unless there's something comes out about what's going on. It's such a strange situation. Like, I understand the notion of like play him in the first half. He did his job. We kind of said this before, like his camp and him and Kansas is trying to look out for him. But Richie Saunders almost won the game for BYU, and Darryn Peterson was still sitting on the bench. So I guess, Ryan, like, What are your thoughts here on like how does this look the rest of the season? Like what happens
Yeah,
in March? What happens in March?
I'll tell you this first off. They Kansas doesn't go into these games saying we know we got Darren for 20, and then we don't. When we know he's not playing the second half. When he gets muscle cramps, he gets muscle cramps, and then they're like, okay, that's not good. I think it's gotten to a point where Darren, his family, his agent, and his team have gotten to an agreement with Kansas saying he's gonna have muscle cramps. I'm gonna have muscle cramps. When they happen, I need to be shut down for that game and the rest of that game. That's how it has to happen. When he went to the bench, he put the muscle wrap on
Yep.
both legs. He was never getting up. He didn't move the entire second half. I think they've gotten to a point to protect him with that. Back to the draft thing. There's no way in hell he doesn't go number one. This is the closest thing to Kobe Bryant that you've ever seen in your entire life. Because of that, and also if it is, say, Bill Self said it's still muscle cramps. He said 100% it's cramped. It's not like he doesn't have like soft tissue injuries or anything like that. I think because it's muscle cramps makes me even more confident he's going to go number one in the draft. Because if he has injury issues and they keep
Sure.
lingering and tearing, like that's a problem. Muscle cramps are fitness issues. They are hydration issues and electrolytes and nutritional issues, tiny things like that. Things that he hasn't done well enough in his training, 100%. Obviously can do better at, I hope. And in the NBA, teams are going to be fine being like, we pay our nutritional staff and strength and conditioning staff more than enough to get your muscle cramps figured out more like easily. I think he'll be perfectly fine once he gets to the NBA, have an NBA offseason with nutritional staff to figure everything out and how he needs to do all those things. That is without a doubt in my brain. That is, he's going to go number one in the draft because if it is truly just muscle cramps, which they say it is, and or conditioning. Bill Self said he had an ankle injury. He missed one game. It's also conditioning that leads, of course, it all leads to that. What it looks like for him going forward in Kansas, I think it's awesome. First of all, that like you said, the first half he had was unbelievable. One of the best first halves in recent memory. But we need you to play to go to a Final Four. We need you to play to win a national championship. People are questioning, does he want those things? I think it's unfair. I think there's more decision makers involved than just him because of how the world of college basketball and professional basketball is right now. There are more decision makers in the room and on the phone having these conversations than just him saying, I want to play, I want to win. I hope that he has an urge to win. I don't know him personally. I've never met him because we were supposed to meet him at Players Era, but he was hurt. he didn't play, so we didn't have him in media
What was he
representation.
hurt with, Ryan? Weird.
Muscle cramps, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
crazy.
strange.
Actually, I'm kind of pissed now. He missed out on muscle cramps from my show, so he's dead. I'm just kidding. He's dead to me. It's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Some people said, "Oh, you don't want to win. We'd rather have you for 0 minutes." Well, no, I'd rather have him for 20 minutes, knowing I'm not going to have him for the next 20. Because when he plays for 20, he gives you enough of a lead that you're probably going to win any game no matter what.
Well, yeah. Like I think let's just without Darryn Peterson, Kansas does not win this game. Duh.
No, they might have won the game, but it'd be a completely different game.
Yeah.
I do want to shout out the Kansas guys, by the way. They're on a 5-game win streak. Flory, Trey White, and Melvin Council have been amazing. But the Kansas depth is non-existent behind the 7 guys that they played. They played 7 guys against BYU, and Darren was one of them. So the second half, they played
Ryan,
6 guys.
They played 8 guys, and 2 of them played 5 minutes. They really only played 6 guys.
Okay.
Like when Peterson came
I
out,
thought
they
it was
played
7.
5
Okay.
the whole second half.
That's exactly the point where they kept that. To be fair, they were playing well enough for the most part,
Sure.
but this Kansas team is not deep enough and not built well enough to be able to win anything. Big Ten title, Big Ten tournament, Final Four, national
12.
championship. They are not able to win anything without Darryn Peterson on the floor. I truly believe that. I still think that they're a decent team and a good team because of the way Melvin Council and those guys have been playing. But this is what I said to you back when Darren was not healthy. I said this at Players Era. I said, you know what? He's not healthy. It's early in the season. It is what it is. This is a great opportunity for Melvin Council, Trey White, and the rest of the team to step up now, get comfortable doing more, so that when he is playing, they are going to be super, super dangerous. Because when they're all together now they've all had their moments to shine and be comfortable in the spotlight, they are a dark horse national title contender. Absolutely. They defend super well. I don't love their depth, and especially with some lack of forcing turnovers and stuff like that on the defensive end. But there's no way you can't say that they won't go to the Final Four for sure if Darren's fully healthy. again, we said this last week. We haven't seen a fully Darryn. We have not seen a fully healthy Darryn Peterson all year. At this point, we're not going to see a fully healthy Darryn Peterson all year.
Nope.
You just have to hope that he doesn't go in and out and in and out. It ruins the flow of a team. And it's February 1st this point, or February 2nd when this episode will post, sorry. Like, you're getting into the nitty-gritty of the season. They're going to be at Iowa State in 2 weeks. You can't have him play 15 minutes and then sit the rest of the game. They're going to lose that game.
This was obviously good for the win and good. Like, this was the worst case for locker room situation. What happened in this game and the way it unfolded and the way they pulled him and BYU stormed back and he still was out.
It was a 4-point game, yeah.
Worst case for everybody else involved. So, yeah, it's messy. I don't know how they're going to go about it. I think Bill Self is a remarkable head coach. He'll figure it out. He runs a program as well as anybody. I don't know which side I take here. I understand the fans being like, hey, like, what's going on here, dude? Like, we're paying you a ton of money, NIL. You're here. You're supposed to want to win. What's going on?
I think it's unfair for any fans out there to question his will to win. I think you'll never get that final answer. You'll never. He's one of those. He's like it's like when Cade Cunningham was in college and those type of guys. They're like these protected personalities. You're never gonna hear from him on those things. You'll never know.
Yeah, well, I hope we at least get an 80% Darryn Peterson the rest of the year because it would be a treat for everybody.
I'll give you some stats real fast. In this 5-game win streak, which has been the best 5 games of Kansas this season, they have beaten a couple of really good teams like BYU and Iowa State. They are the second best team in the entire country in terms of overall efficiency in those 5 games. They're shooting 41% from 3. They have a 10% turnover percentage with this number, which is the 15th best. They're 13th in block percentage. 13th in block percentage. Flory's averaging 16 and 9. Melvin Council's averaging 14, 6 and 6. Trey White 50% from 3. And Darryn is scoring 29.7 points per 40 minutes. In 4 games, they've played 200 minutes. 5 games, 200 minutes. He's played 102 minutes in that 5-game streak of them being so good. If you get 50% of Darryn Peterson, the team is infinitely better. He missed an entire game in one of those too. The problem is they cannot rely on him for tourney runs. Like, think about back-to-back. He's not going. There's no way in hell in March he's able to play back-to-backs at full strength. There's just no way.
Yep.
So we'll see what it looks for them. Kansas, obviously, top 10 team in the country right now because they're winning these games and they're playing with him. Hopefully he's good to go. I don't know exactly when the next game is. They are going to play
Texas Tech the day this episode comes out, tomorrow.
Oh, my.
By the way, they have Texas Tech, and then they have Arizona a week later and Iowa State 3 days after that.
That's brutal scheduling. Oh, my. That's
Welcome
brutal.
to the Big 12, baby.
That's brutal scheduling, but maybe he'll play tomorrow and sit out Utah game and then play Arizona, big break, Iowa State.
We'll see.
Who knows? Let's go to the BYU side real fast because we'll put them on panic meter also. BYU down to 17-4. They lost to Arizona by 3. They lost to Kansas by 8. But they were down 20 in both of those games. Just like they were down 20 versus UConn and lost by 2. Just like they were down 20 and ended up beating Clemson and MSG on a buzzer beater. I think BYU is still very clearly a very, very, very good team. My worry with them is they're not a great team because the amount of opportunities to have really significant wins over good teams and great teams are dwindling slowly and slowly and slowly. And being the cardiac Cougs is I think is a good trait to have when you can go down 20 versus one of the best teams and the best team in the country, come back in a flash and put yourself in an opportunity to win games like that, like the Arizona game and like the UConn game. That's an amazing trait to have. Being able to face adversity, fight through it, especially when you have a young team. This is what we said earlier in the year after a couple of those games, UConn and Clemson, I think. I was like, wow, I love this about them. You just got to hope that they figure it out in the first half or they figure out how to actually have one extra possession to get across that line at the end of those games and those comebacks. It's still the same issue with them. And now it's February, and it's getting to a point where, like, okay, I don't think they can win the national championship because there's no way they can put 6 games in a row together. It's frustrating because they're very obviously a good team. They just, I think they forced the error too much. Like the Arizona game, AJ was trying to live up to the moment. Same with the Kansas game a little bit where he was trying too much to live up to the moment. Luckily, they have Kevin Keita, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders, and other guys also. But the alarm bells are ringing a little bit because they're 6 games to win a national title. I'm worried about winning 2 games in the tournament or 3. That's what I'm worried about right now for BYU.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the things you said is a positive for them, which is that it doesn't have to be AJ.
Yeah.
The Kansas game comeback was not AJ. It was very much Richie
It was
Saunders.
literally just Richie Saunders.
Yeah, but he finished with 33 and 10. He was
He's
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
6'5" guy, 33 and 10.
Beast.
So it doesn't always have to be AJ, which is good, but I think you're right. Like they're putting themselves in holes too early. And it wasn't like this game was with turnovers. They only turned the ball over 7 times all game.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like they were being not being careful with the ball or turning it over or playing too fast. Like it just didn't work. They didn't make enough shots in the first half. So they took, by the way, they took 10 more shots and 7 less free throws than Kansas in the game, and they still were like pretty much out of it for 90%.
Yeah, it's very strange. The Arizona game, I was there. It was very interesting. They were clicking really early on for the first 10 minutes or so, and they were defending really well, converging in the paint, forcing Arizona to be a little uncomfortable offensively. They got so many good looks on their offensive side of the ball that were a lot of them were open looks, open threes, open bunnies, and stuff like that. They just were not hitting shots. And at halftime, I was like, oh, like, you know what? BYU's playing well. Arizona had a little stretch. Like, BYU's very much in this game, and they should be able to win it if they start knocking down shots. And they just never did until the last 4 minutes of the game went on that crazy comeback, obviously, whatever it was.
By the way, listen to this one. In the Arizona game, they took 19 more shots than Arizona.
Yeah, it's
now,
crazy.
Arizona did shoot 32 free throws, and Braden Burries and Jaden Bradley were like otherworldly that night. But they're getting shots off. They're just this is like the most obvious statement in basketball. They're just not making them.
I talked to KY after on Tuesday morning. We filmed that 30-minute thing, which is a good watch. But I talked to him off camera also about the Arizona game as well as a little bit on camera. I didn't want to like harp on it too much for him again. But he said, he was like, we're doing so many things in the first half that we wanted to do, but then when you don't execute in the final look of it, you miss on the shot, you're short, you're tired legs, you don't lock in, and little things like that. All of a sudden, the game turns into a game that you shouldn't be playing because you're not doing those little things to execute every ounce of those plays beforehand. And it's frustrating, obviously, for him and that team. And but I still think that they are dangerous because maybe at this point they're going to be some kind of underdog in March, where first round they'll get a team that they should be able to beat, but second round and definitely beyond that, they're going to be the underdog team in all those games against really good teams. And they seem to play better when they're not supposed to win at that point. Listen, the season's not over for them, the regular season. They still get Houston, Arizona again, Iowa State, and Texas Tech. They have UCF and a couple of other decent teams in the Big 12, but those four are the only opportunities they have left to beat great teams and any kind of elite status teams. If they don't win any of those games, their seeding is going to be not great because they're going to have no Q1A wins also. And on top of that, I will have no faith in them being able to put together a deep run.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, you said it, losing to the obvious number one team in the country and to the next Kobe Bryant and at the field house.
Like, on paper, look at their losses. They lost against UConn and TD Garden in Boston, at Texas Tech, home against the number one team in the country, Arizona, and then at Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas. Like, it's not the end of the world on paper, but BYU fans, I think, listening very much understand what we're talking about here, and because they're not happy either. They're frustrated. They're frustrated, and I get it.
I get it.
You did say Richie Saunders. Shout out Richie Saunders. That's an NBA player right there. He is.
Yes.
He looks exactly like Corey Kispert did for Gonzaga a few years ago, where he can rebound a little bit. They're scoring basically the same exact amount of points per game on very similar shot appetites and very similar shooting splits and percentages. Very similar styles. They're older. They both got flow in the hair. Like, they play very similar styles. And Corey Kispert went 15th in his draft, I think it was, or might have been 14th, but I think he was right outside the lottery. Not saying Richie Saunders should go 14th or 15th, but I think there's a chance that he gets looks in the late first round and early second, because why wouldn't you want him on an NBA roster? So positive, shout out Richie Saunders. That's an NBA player for sure.
Yep.
So, all right, we talked about KY. Why don't we get into some other coaching stuff? Because I feel like this is a good point of the year where on both ends of the spectrum, you kind of know what things are shaping out for Coach of the Year and for hot seat coaches, and if they're going to be fired or not, which is probably the more fun conversation.
But that's more fun.
Let's start off with the simpler one for sure. Coach of the Year in college basketball right now. I wrote a list down myself. Did you do any work for this, by the way?
My work is I looked at your list and I said these are the guys I think that are going to win.
Okay, I wrote down 8 guys.
Okay,
I wrote
you
down eight
start.
coach. I wrote down 8 coaches that I think have a case for coach of the year right now. But I really think there's a 5, and it's going to be one of those 5 for damn sure.
It honestly,
Let's start
Ryan,
the back
just
end.
so you know, it's probably like a 3
It
have a
probably
chance.
is. Let's start. But I wrote down a bigger list than 8, and then I was like, there's no way anyone tops these 8, in my opinion. Fair?
Ooh, okay.
Okay. Honorable mention 3. I'm missing someone. Now, honorable mention 3. Yes, John Shire, T.J. Otterberger, and Mark Byington. Shire, I think, gets, along with Cam Boozer and along with Duke, kind of get pushed under the rug and as underwhelmingly amazing, like they did last year, like Cooper Flag did at times, like their team did last year, like they are again this year. I very much recognize that Duke is being overlooked because everything is so simple for them, and John Shire doesn't get enough credit for that. So shout out to John Shire for sure. TJ Otterberger, Iowa State was not supposed to be as good as they are. They were seen as outside the top 12. I think they were like 15 or 16 in a lot of different rankings, or maybe a little better than that, to start the season across the country. But they were not seen as a title contender, maybe a dark horse Final Four team, and I think that they've obviously jumped up in that, even with their 2-game cold stretch. And Mark Byington, obviously with Vandy, say what you want about their 3-game cold stretch and that they are not these elite title contenders. They lost 3 in a row, I think. You
No,
said
that was my
2?
V. V's up.
Oh, I was like, I think it was 3. They lost their 3-game cold stretch, but nobody, and I mean basically nobody, besides our good friend Christian Ajakjian and maybe a couple of other people, expected Vandy to be anywhere near this good. They weren't seen as remotely close to a top 25 team. They said maybe they'll be a tournament team, but they had an amazing start to the year. They are still one of the best teams in the SEC, and they're having an incredible season. Those 3 guys deserve love. I don't think any of them win it, though. Is that fair?
I think that's correct.
Okay. So honorable mention, John Shire, TJ Otterberger, Mark Byington. Dusty May, Tommy Lloyd are 2 that I kind of paired together. I think they have to be in the conversation, especially Tommy Lloyd. He has the edge over Dusty May without a doubt right now because they're, one, undefeated and the best team in the country, but they had lower expectations in Michigan also, where they were seen by a lot like myself as the 4th, 5th, or 6th team in the Big 12, and Michigan was second favorite to win it behind Purdue going into the season, but they were still seen as like a title contender where Arizona was really not, and maybe on the cusp of that, similar to what I mentioned about Iowa State. But Arizona's been amazing. Michigan has been amazing. Dusty May, I think both those coaches deserve all the world of credit. Dusty May and his system, his analytics, his very intricate specifics around the system is wildly impressive to me, more than any other coach in the country right now. So I think he definitely deserves to. They definitely deserve to be in the conversation. There's a chance that one of them win it because of how the narrative of the award goes with power teams and the best team success also at the top end of the country. So I wouldn't doubt that one of those guys will win it. I think if the season ended today, that whoever voting on it, media, whoever, they would give it to Tommy Lloyd, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think that Tommy Lloyd, by the way, is the favorite to win it. Now, here's what I will say: sitting here on February 1st, 6 of Arizona's last 9 games are against top 19 Ken Palm teams. They get 4 in a row: Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, Houston. They're 22. If they lose one game all year, if they go 30-1 with this schedule, this is not a competition.
That's crazy.
I'm just
That's
saying, like,
that's a fair
even
point.
even if they lose 2, like 29-2 with that Big 12 schedule, I don't think anybody will beat him for the award. I think he's the favorite.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair thing to say. Again, this is my own power rankings at least, so we're gonna keep rolling here with who I'd give it to. Fair,
Yes.
fair play. Number 3, I have Josh Schertz. St. Louis is playing just as good as really any team in the country, and one of the best mid majors in years. No, people expected them to win the A10. There were a bunch of teams that people kind of threw around at the top there. They were picked as one of them. Nobody saw them being as a near undefeated team, and I think that had that last possession of that Stanford game gone differently and as chaotic as it was, and they ended up losing that game, if they still were undefeated, and I know it's if this, if that. I mean, they were one wildly ridiculous play from being undefeated right now. It's a very realistic situation. I think Josh Schertz would be the favorite to win, and St. Louis would be top 10 ranked in the country, top 11 right now. I think it'd be that much of a difference because of how much you already know him and trust his system from the Indiana State days. and how you watch them and trust them with the eye test. And the A10 is a good league. So Josh Schertz, 3, but I understand him being 4 or 5, but he's definitely a top 5 candidate on the list for me. It has to be. He has to be.
I will say nothing negative about my guy, Josh Hurts.
Okay. Number 2 is Travis Steele at Miami, Ohio. Again, not a sucker in the world expected Miami, Ohio to be this good. I remember doing my preseason mid-major, my single bid league mid-major top 20. They were in there, but they were towards the back end of it, and I didn't expect them to be this good. They just keep winning. They keep finding a way. I love Travis Steele. I love his mentality. I love how he speaks to the media and calls it everything what it is. He's transparent, and they're unbelievable. If they go undefeated on the entire year and Arizona doesn't, he has to win.
I completely disagree with you.
He has to win.
I honestly think he wouldn't be in my top 10 of voting.
That's crazy. You're insane.
I like Travis Steele. I think he's a really good basketball coach. I think what Miami's doing is awesome. Ryan, they've played nobody. Literally nobody.
Are such a hater. All right. You're telling me if they go 34-0 and they go and they get an NCAA tournament bid and get like a 5 seed or 6 seed, you don't think he deserves to win Coach of the Year?
Not if Arizona goes 33-1 with a loss to Houston.
I don't fully agree with that.
No, there's no way.
I think if you go undefeated and you could be in the SWAC for all I care.
They're playing Manalapan High School in half their games.
You wish they were playing Manalapan High School. Manalapan sucks at basketball.
Shout out Coach G. This is the one that I very much disagree with. Again, I am thrilled for Miami. I think
you don't think he's in the top 10? You're insane.
I was probably being facetious.
You're insane.
I was being facetious.
Where
I would have
him
below everybody else you have on this list, except maybe Byington.
I'd put him. He has to be top 5 without a doubt. And I'm a sucker for the mid majors. I know
that.
The
the other guy, besides Tommy Lloyd, that I think is up for the award is the guy you have at number 1.
If the season ended today, even after this week, Fred Hoiberg would be National Coach of the Year. I think, without a doubt in my mind, Nebraska was picked 14th in the Big Ten this year by the media. 14th is insane to be a top 10 team in the country. And I know people are going to say, they're frauds. They lost 2 games this week. Now is not the time to panic on Nebraska. For a couple, let me get this out of the way before I get into Fred Hoiberg real fast, actually. Nebraska, I understand that starting the season off, they started off 20-0, right? Starting the season off 20-0 and then losing 2 games in a row feels bad. Similar to what we saw with Vanderbilt. But you lost at Michigan and then home against Illinois, where you already beat them on the road. So you split with Illinois. Those are probably the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. If you're not 2, then you're 3, then they're 1-3 or 1-2, realistically. And really, there's a top 5 in the Big Ten, and they're kind of very thin margins. But you can argue that Michigan and Illinois are for sure the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. Maybe 1-3 if Nebraska yourself is number 2. So those are not bad losses at all. At Michigan, you don't have your best player in Rink Mast, and you don't have Braden Frager, and you're playing against the refs, and you probably should have won that game is one thing. And then this Illinois game, Keaton Walker took over a little bit. Rink Mast and Braden Frager, their first game back. Rink Mast definitely not fully good to go. This is not the time to panic on Nebraska at all. They are not frauds. They're still the same exact team. Are they going to drop a couple of notches in the AP? Whatever. I don't care. Nebraska is the same team they were before these 2 losses. Do not fear. Now is not the time to call them frauds or anything. If they lose to Northwestern and Rutgers in the next 2, whatever, fine. We'll talk about it. But I had to get that out because people on Twitter were crazy today. Oh, they're frauds. They lost 2 games this week. Did you watch both the games?
Yeah.
You didn't watch.
I'm with you. I think they realistically could go 28-3. And if Arizona loses 2 of those games that I talked about before, and Nebraska finishes 2nd in the Big Ten, this is a runaway award winner.
Coming into the year, Fred Hoiberg was a guy that wasn't on the hot seat at Nebraska, but you had to keep your eyes peeled on him.
Yep.
Picked 14th in the Big Ten. It was basically like they need to be an NCAA tournament team or they're going to start having conversations over there in Nebraska probably. But he's awesome. And it took him a little bit. It took him to have the right guys to fit his system. He's been trying to play the specific system for years there. It's finally working. I love it for him. I love it for him and Sam and the entire team they have there. He deserves this award more than anybody right now if the season ended today. Although I understand that any of these top five guys getting the award. So
yep, Hoiberg or Tommy Lloyd for me as of today.
I'd vote for Hoiberg or Travis Steele because you're a hater.
Sure.
Shall we get on to the hot seat?
Yeah, this is more fun.
Everyone was asking for this last week, by the way.
We had a lot of people in our DMs asking about a lot of these coaches at any given moment.
Yeah. All right, so I have a long list of guys I wrote out.
This is going to be a longer segment than anticipated, but we could try to be short about it.
We're gonna try to be quick about it. I have a long list of about a dozen guys, I'd say, of coaches that are on the hot seat in some way. Are they gonna get fired or not? Is the story. So we're gonna roll through them relatively quickly. We got to talk about them. We will, especially if we disagree. Will they be coaching at this school for next season or not? That's the question. Are they still going to be coaching? Are they still going to have their job next year? That's the question I'm asking, okay?
Okay.
Let's start off with Red Autry at Syracuse. May I start?
You may start.
He will not be coaching at Syracuse next year. I said coming into the year, they are a year too late of holding Red Autry because he's a Syracuse guy. Don't hire your guys, your legends. It never works. It very rarely works. Look at guys like Penny Hardaway. Oh God, I gotta put him on the list. I didn't even have him on the list. Penny Hardaway at Memphis, Pat Ewing at Georgetown, Jerry Stackhouse. The list goes on. These guys don't work out when you hire them because they're your guys. Kevin Young at BYU is a little bit of a different situation where he has like family tie. Like he was the right guy for the job. You're hiring your former legends because they're your former legends. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Don't do it. And if they're not good, Mike Woods in Indiana also. Yeah. If it doesn't work, you're caught up in, let's give him one more year. Let's give him maybe 2 more years. See, he's not, there's no way he's the coach next year. And if he is, shame on Syracuse.
I agree with you, but let me just offer a little bit of an aside to what you just said, because I think their next coach is very obvious, and I think he very obviously has Syracuse ties.
Do tell.
It's Jerry McNamara, who is at Siena. Siena, by the way, 14 and 18 last year. They're in first place in the MAC this year.
I do like him.
And he was the head coach in waiting before Autry got handed the role and he left.
I also don't think it's that simple that they're just going to hand it to him now, though.
This is the most obvious hire of all time.
They should go after Josh Schertz.
He's a good coach. Well, okay. They should go after Josh Schertz, but Josh Schertz may get a better offer than Syracuse.
He might, but he also might not. Syracuse. Okay. I think Syracuse has a lot of money and a great package and everything to offer.
I think that the Syracuse fan base would be thrilled with Jerry McNamara. He's a baller.
I'm okay with that. I do like him. I hear what you're saying about that, but
I agree with you. Red Autry will almost obviously not be coaching Syracuse next year.
There's no way. If he is, it's gonna be hilarious. It'll be hilarious. All right, next guy, Wes Miller at Cincy.
He will not be coaching at Cincy next year.
I agree. He will not be coaching, and they will have Jared Calhoun.
Yeah, we've talked about this one, and part of me is like, is Utah State a better job than Cincy?
He's gonna get paid double what he's getting paid at Utah State.
I know, and I think it's like an obvious jump for him before he goes and gets like potentially a really big time job.
Yeah. Do relatively well at Cincy, and then
lower expectations. It's your alma mater back home. He's from Ohio. Yeah, makes a ton of sense. Utah State fans are not going to like this.
No, they were actually they're accept. They already know this is happening.
Okay.
I was there. They're all like, you really think he's going to leave? I'm like, yeah. They're like, yeah, we know. We're okay with that. Yeah. They're gonna, and they said they'll root for Cincy if he goes there. Okay. They'll be happy for him. So Utah State people are just happy. Whoever their next coach is going to be good anyway. It's irrelevant.
That's true.
It is literally irrelevant. Okay.
True.
All right, next one, Anthony Grant at Dayton.
He's dead in the water.
You think they're going to fire him?
If they don't, the fan base might revolt.
But they've done this they do this every year.
Okay.
They did this when they were in the NCAA tournament 2 years ago as a 7 seed. Okay. 3 years ago.
I think he definitely should be fired.
He's going to be fired. I think Dayton has way too high of a basketball standard to let this go on.
Yeah.
What's really sucks is he didn't have the 2020 tournament to like boost the entire program. Like who knows what their program would look like right now if that tournament happened. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Do you have any obvious? I have a name, but this is a harder one to figure out who would take the spot.
Jeremy Schulman.
Oh my God, that's a great one.
Jeremy Schulman, hire him.
I was thinking like Takayo Siddle from Wilmington.
Maybe
he's had 4 really good years.
It's a very obvious step up, but
it's a step up. Dayton's a good job, and somebody good will get it. And I just had a hard time figuring out who it would be. So Siddle is my kind of like front runner pick.
What about Travis Steele? It's a great coach for the job.
That's a really good one too.
In Ohio, that's a great job.
The Miami fan base would be
livid,
very mad.
How do you not understand that though? You're going from the MAC to the A10 to a program that has millions of dollars to spend.
Passion is deeper red than
In
logic
action, my
sometimes.
apologies. Fair enough. We'll see. I'll put my money on Travis Steele.
Yeah.
I mentioned him before. I want to put him in. Penny Hardaway. If he's coaching at Memphis at the end of the season,
Uh,
it is wraps for that program.
Honestly, Ryan, he will be the Memphis coach next year.
Hilarious. Objectively hilarious. Let's
No,
move on.
not arguing with you here.
Okay, Steve Peichel at Rutgers.
He will be coaching Rutgers next year. I will shout out my friend Paul, who always says, when you talk about Rutgers, can you talk about me? He knows that I think Steve Peichel should have been gone even before last year. I love Steve Peichel. He's like the most genuine dude on the face of the earth. We had such a good time with him.
Love him.
I think he's in over his head right now. And the NIL world is not his game. I think he should not be their coach next year, but he will be their coach next year.
Yeah.
I actually, Ryan, I don't even think this is a question. He will be their coach next year.
I think it's still a question. I actually think that. Hold on, I want to see something real fast. I believe that
The buyout's a lot.
Well, I believe that he has a good recruiting class already. Am I wrong?
That's incorrect. He has one number 200 recruit coming.
Never mind. I am so wrong. I am so wrong about that. Irrelevant. I think he'll be coaching there next year also. I love him. I don't know if the Rutgers program is going to be able to go anywhere while he's the coach at this point. I don't think it's like I just don't think it's I don't know. I don't have the confidence it's going to happen.
I think last year set him back so much that he really had no chance this year. And once he had no chance this year, I think next year is going to be his last year at Rutgers. But his buyout is like $10 million right now. It's just not going to happen.
A lot. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's too much money.
It's a little bit less, but still.
This is an obvious one. Kim English at Providence. There's no way if he's still the coach there, they are gonna hang him on a stake or somewhere in the middle of Providence.
That's what I was gonna say. Is you want to talk about a fan base running somebody out of town?
They will literally hang him in the town center.
For the safety of the people who live in Rhode Island, I will say he will not be their coach next year.
And for his own safety. Yeah, they're gonna say we're actually doing you a favor.
I do think I have their next coach.
They want Josh Schertz. No way he goes there.
Okay, so maybe they won't like this because it's the exact same school they got Kim English from. Tony Skinn.
I love Tony Skinn.
The problem is that he's George Mason, which is right where Kim English came from. But
Tony Skinn's a good coach. Tony Skinn's a good coach. I am all for, in general, big programs, any power program, and really any program at all that needs a new coach, especially the power programs this coaching cycle in the summer or in the spring. Go after the successful mid-major guys. Don't you dare think about going after guys who have been recycled through and through. It does not work anymore, especially in the new era of the sport. Go for the guy. Josh Schertz will be the hottest commodity. I get that. There are going to be many other coaches. Jared Calhoun probably going to go to Cincy, but there are going to be 12 to 20 really, really good mid-major coaches that you can pick and choose from and interview all of them if you want to. Providence is a great example of they're not going to get their first option, whoever it is, because they're one of the smaller power programs in the country, but they're going to have options. I've heard Anthony Grant. I would not do that. I would not. Why
skinheads.
Why would they do that?
We are skinheads, baby. Tony Skinn.
I'm okay with Tony Skinn. I like that. I'm okay with that. We'll see. But Kim English will not be coaching there. Buzz Williams, I wanted to throw on at Maryland. I think he definitely will be coaching there because of Baba, but it's a conversation. That's all I want to say. They've been hard.
Can I take a minute here?
Yes. Go ahead.
I got a little passionate on Twitter last week, and I may have said some things I regret. I didn't delete them, but I put them out there. He will 100% be coaching Maryland next year. By the way, his first year at Texas A&M, they went 500. His last year, they went 23-11. His first year at Va Tech, they went 11-22. His last year, they went 26-9. This is kind of just what he does. Now, I don't think that means it was the right hire, because that I don't agree with. And there's nothing to like about it. It's going to be the worst season in Maryland history, record-wise. But without question, he gets next year. I do think if they don't legitimately win next year, not just squeak in on the bubble, I do think he will be fired next year.
I 1,000% agree.
It's a new AD too. They are going to fire the football coach, so might be an expensive year for AD Jim Smith at Maryland.
I'm going to name two coaches real fast that we don't really have to talk about much because they're going to get fired. That's Jeff Capel at Pitt and Bobby Hurley at Arizona State.
Yep, done and done. Jeff Capel, by the way, won NCAA tournament in 8 years at Pitt. Not good enough.
Hard. I do want to say this real fast. Hilarious quote from Bobby Hurley. Ready?
I saw it. Go ahead.
I want to read to the people. We haven't played well at home in years. Like since before COVID. It's a sterile environment. We don't win here. It's not a home court advantage. It's hard to see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. That's sad.
He knows
honestly,
it.
I've never felt bad for him before. I feel bad.
I know. Jersey guy Bobby Hurley. Yeah, he knows he's done.
I heard Providence, people calling for him to go to Providence. Why would you want him? That's my point about do not hire guys like that. Go hire someone who's half the age.
I think that they're just like, well, the other Hurley's down the street and he's there and
that's
he's
not
great.
how that works.
I'm just telling you what I'm telling you what their perspective might be.
Bobby Hurley would go 0 in a million versus Danny Hurley. 0 in a freaking million, which is not the goal. Yes, Jeff Capel and Bobby Hurley will not be coaching there. Jerome Tang at Kansas State. 4th year, they've gotten worse every single year since they got to the Elite Eight with Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson. He's been riding off that high. And let me tell you something. He has built his program very shittily, in my opinion.
Oh, I love Jerome.
And their teams, not the more the teams every year. Like on paper before the season, you look at them, you go, there's no way they're going to be good. And they're not good.
I think he's going to get next year. I think that's it for him.
I agree. I think Jerome Tang is the coach for next year. And if it's not good next year, then he's out.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 more here. 3 more. Jake Diebler at Ohio State. I am very firm on if they miss the NCAA tournament, he is going to be out. If they make the NCAA tournament, he buys himself another year. It's that simple.
I actually agree with you. Ohio State's athletic department is no bullshit, and they won't let him slack off. If they don't make the tournament, I think he will not be their coach. If they do make it,
he was an interim head coach. He had a great 7-game stretch at the end of the year just off vibes alone.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's a bad coach per se, but they hired him because of those 7 games to say, keep this rolling. We need to be good right now, and we can't afford any kind of rebuild.
I do think that even if they squeak in, like even if they're the last team in, I do think that keeps him his job for a year.
I agree. If they're in the tournament, he keeps his job. It's that simple. I think it's a hard line.
Yep.
2 more for us real fast that I think are conversations, but maybe not. Mark Pope at Kentucky. He's going to have his job next year, without a doubt.
Spicy Ryan.
He's going to have his job next year.
Spicy Ryan.
Especially with the way they've been playing lately, they're going to be fine safely in the tournament. But if they have this kind of beginning of the season again next year, and they end up being like this very mid-tournament team again, how do you keep him around at Kentucky? Again, this is their guy. This is the Kentucky guy. So how do you fire him also?
Like maybe the hardest job in the country because the expectations are never going to be anything.
No, it's almost unfair.
Yeah, he'll obviously be their coach next year.
He's going to have his job, but how long do you let mid-seasons go? Like how many? If he makes a tournament every year, but he's no higher than a 4 seed, but he's no lower than a 10 seed, for how many years is that okay?
I don't know. 3, 4, maybe.
I think if it happens this year and then next year, then they're gonna have conversations internally.
Yeah, maybe.
I do still think Mark Pope's a very good coach. People it's just like it's a standard that's very unattainable for him. I think is the problem.
Yep. Speaking of high standards, Ryan, what's your last one here?
Hubert Davis.
Yeah, I mean,
you mentioned Jerome Tang before. Hubert Davis has been riding off that Final Four vibes run in year 1 more than anybody else. It's kind of like what Wayne Tinkle's been going off at Oregon State. He still has his job, by the way.
Well,
crazy.
Different athletic departments.
Not the conversation we're having. Hubert Davis will be the coach of North Carolina next year. I think that he's on a tighter rope right now than Mark Pope is at Kentucky. If they don't go anywhere in the tournament this year, after they got to the Final Four, then they were a 1 seed and lost in the first weekend, or Sweet 16, I think it was. They lost in the Sweet 16. Last year, they were one of the last 4 teams in. This year, if they don't make the second weekend, they lose round 1 or round 2, and then next year it looks the same, they're going to fire him. They have higher standards, and they have already had these conversations longer than Kentucky has had with Pope because he's been there for longer.
Yep. I mean, yeah, he's in terms of next year, this is not a question, but I think time could wear thin quickly for him.
Okay, there we go. So that's a lot of coaches and potentially a lot of big jobs opening up and then starting a domino effect. You have a surprise segment, a secret segment. Is that correct?
I do. All that I told you for this segment was that you'd be able to talk about some teams in a positive light.
I know how to talk.
The nice thing is that I'll get to what it is in a second. You've already talked about some of these teams, which is good.
Today.
So Ryan, without further ado, I would like to present you with the first ever segment of Does Ryan Really Hate Your Team? I chose the 6 fan bases who were in your comments the most.
Fine.
because they believe that you don't like their programs.
Okay,
So
great.
Ryan,
This is good.
the two most hot ones this week have been. You've talked a lot about them today.
I know who one of them is.
Well, that they're going to be the second one. Kansas is number one
Oh,
because
really?
they're so mad at you for not putting Allen Fieldhouse, even though you
Oh,
haven't been there.
I haven't been
Even though
there.
you have no, they don't care. They don't care. They said, "We know you haven't been there. Are you stupid?" Basically, for not putting it number
you
one.
can't make a list without going to Allen Fieldhouse. I'm gonna get there at some point. I'm gonna get there at some point. For anyone who doesn't know, on TikTok and Instagram, I'm ranking the best game day environments in the sport of college basketball. I haven't been to Kansas yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Ryan, I'd like to ask you, like, tell them why you don't hate them.
Let me tell you this. I grew up thinking that Kansas is the mecca of college basketball, and it's everything. Allen Fieldhouse is incredible. I love the colors. I used to pick them in my bracket all the time, regardless of even though I never knew anything half the time. Like, I have loved Kansas growing up. I still like them. I still love the program. Bill Self is a legend. Flory Badunga is my absolute dog. I love him. One of the nicest players I've ever met. I like Kansas. I have no beef with them. It's only because of the game day stuff. I will get there. I honestly don't think it's going to happen this year because of travel schedule, and it's already February.
We are going next year. Evan, clip that. I like Kansas.
I love Kansas. I've grown up loving Kansas forever. So to anyone who thinks I don't like them, I think Kansas fans are more upset about the game day stuff than me actually not liking
I
them.
agree.
I like
Okay,
them.
number two, you know this is coming because it is hot and heavy every time. Ryan, why do you hate Michigan State?
I don't hate Michigan State. I hate that people think they can win the national championship when they can't. Their offense isn't good enough. You saw that on Friday night against Michigan. Their offense isn't good enough. I like them. I love the way they defend. I love how hard they play. Their team isn't good enough offensively, and their system isn't good enough offensively to win a national championship. Michigan State fans disagree with me on that, and they disagree with me to the sun and moon and back. I understand that. You ride for your dogs. I've just been adamant that they can't win the national championship, and I still am. I love the way they play. I think it's awesome. It's gritty. It's dirty at times a little bit, but they play hard as hell. The Izzone and Breslin Center is incredible. Another place that I definitely need to go to. I don't hate them at all. I have no hate, other than actually Tom Izzo needs to be more open to analytics because he doesn't like analytics.
Is it fair that this was the one you knew was coming? Was Michigan
Without
State?
a doubt. Without a doubt. There are four more. I don't even know who's on this list.
The next one, I know you saw this one. Somebody from the Nebraska fan base found you on Facebook.
What?
And wrote a very long comment asking why you don't talk about Nebraska at all. You must hate them so much.
Okay, let me tell you this. I haven't been on Facebook in 5 years.
I just want you to know I had your back and I commented back. Because when you share stuff on Instagram, Ryan, it double posts to Facebook.
I understand.
Somebody found you on Facebook and posted it.
Crazy. I have not been on Facebook for 5 years at least, and I will not go on Facebook for another 5 years at least. That app is dead to me. So whoever that one Nebraska ball fan is on Facebook, he's on Facebook. That means he doesn't watch any of the actual videos. Oh, wait, I do post videos about Nebraska. I've done it 3 times.
I even sent him one, and he's like, "You haven't talked about them since then." Anyway.
Well, I talked about them last week on the podcast. Listen to the show, brother.
I'm just telling you.
I have nothing to say. I love Nebraska ball. Nebraska ball fans know that.
We could rattle past these last 3 because your biggest haters were the first 2.
No shit.
Or the people that think you are their biggest haters. I still think Arizona fans don't believe you're giving them enough love.
That's okay, and I think I did my goodwill work with them, and I owned up to it. They're amazing.
Fair.
I think I'm good there, honestly.
Okay.
But Arizona's awesome. I have zero hate towards Arizona.
The last 2 in the last month have been a lot. Arkansas, you hate Arkansas. Why can't they win the SEC?
First of all, was it you? I think I've been one of the biggest proponents of Arkansas and supporters this season.
This is not me telling you this, Ryan.
They have been all over the place with their quality of play. I think Arkansas fans, most of them will actually agree with me that they don't like this and it's not fun. I still think that they're going to be a good dark horse in March like I did last year, but they have been just shaky. They're not winning the SEC at this point because they can't beat.
Tell them why you don't hate Arkansas.
Because Cal, I like Cal. I like the Mafia vibe. He's a Jersey. He loves New Jersey. He comes to Jersey Shore all the time. I like letting the boys hoop because that's what Cal does and that's what these guys are good at. I don't think it's sustainable for winning a lot of games in March, but I like the way they play. It's fun to watch.
Ryan, the last one, and I actually agree with this one. I think that you kind of don't give them enough love. Why do you hate UConn so much?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably because of like the Duke treatment also, where they're just underwhelmingly amazing. and it's like boring because they're playing in the Big East, and the Big East kind of sucks. But UConn is clearly a top 4 or 5 team in the country without a doubt. Here you go. I'm coming to UConn. There's a formal announcement. I'll tell you right now. I am coming to UConn on February. You're not coming, are you?
I thought I was.
Oh, I thought you weren't coming. I thought you weren't
But
around.
I was.
Okay, Adam's coming too. We are coming to St. John's, the St. John's game. We are coming to UConn. To the game's not in stores. It's at the XL Center in downtown Hartford on February 25th against St. John's, and I am going to UConn at St. John's this coming Friday, and I'm going through UConn. So there you go. How about that?
Hate UConn.
For hate
That's your first secret segment. Why Ryan doesn't hate your team.
I was nervous. I'll be honest to start. So
okay.
Small break. Okay.
Did you hate it?
I love the segment. We're back from our small break. I love the secret segment. I thought it was fun. Let's do panic meter, excitement scale, schedule Q&A, and let's bounce. Okay.
Let's get out of here.
Okay. Panic meter. The panic meter is loaded up today with some big bad boy teams.
Should we give like a panic scream really quick?
Okay. Let's start off with the team who played today on Sunday. Let's start off with Alabama. Alabama is now 14-7. Their last 3 games, they lost home against Tennessee, they beat Missouri, and then they got their ass kicked at Florida, all with Charles Bediako. They're 1-2 since getting Charles Bediako on their team. I'm pretty high for Alabama. I'm a little worried for them because I thought Charles Bediako would help them. I know they've been running through some injury stuff with Amari Allen, Aiden Holloway, but they both played. They never stood a chance today against Florida. I am at like a 7 for Alabama because they are at a point where they might have a tough first round draw in the tournament.
Yep. I am also at exactly a 7. Definitely concerned. I know we're rarely exactly lock and step here. I'm concerned about them. Same pace issues and turnover issues that they have every year. Yeah, they don't look great.
Okay, Michigan State. They are 19-3, and they just lost home. They just lost home against Michigan on Friday night, of course.
This is a big moment for you coming off the hater segment just now.
10! I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Oh, you want me to go first?
I do want you to go first, yeah.
I'm probably like a 4.5 on Michigan State because I tend to agree with you that they're not like a national title contender, but I'm not worried about them because they lost to Michigan by 12.
Yeah, I don't think any differently of Michigan State than I did before the Michigan game for the most part. Other than there was a small inkling in my brain like maybe they play really well offensively tonight. I'm like, okay, I was wrong about everything. I still like Michigan State. They're still a top 5 team in the Big Ten. Might be 4, might be 3. It's very thin margins. I'm at 2 panic meter because they lost to Michigan. Whatever. Number 2 team.
I said 4.5 because they almost lost to Rutgers.
That I would have been at a 9 if they lost to Rutgers also. But they didn't lose the game. They found a way. Those games do happen sometimes for teams. Their style of team is more suspect to those losses, but they haven't lost a game like that yet. I don't think they're going to.
Yep.
Let's stay in the Big Ten for 2 more Big Ten teams. Nebraska ball, they were 20-0. Now they're 20-2 after losing at Michigan and home against Illinois. I am at a 1.5 for Nebraska. I talked about it earlier. They didn't have Rank Moss and Braden Frager against Michigan, and they still probably should have won that game. The refs were very much against them at the end of that game, but it is what it is. And Illinois, they've split with. Illinois is a team that I think actually represents their kryptonites very, very well. And the fact that they split with them, and those are the 2 other best teams in the Big Ten, is perfectly fine. I think no differently of Nebraska.
Yep. Also at a 1.5. I'd be surprised if they lose more than 2 games the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, last one. Staying in the Big Ten is Purdue. Their last 4 games, lost at UCLA, lost versus Illinois, lost at Indiana, and then they just beat Maryland. Congratulations.
What the fuck? That was rude. Yeah, I think there's obvious reasons to be concerned here. This is a hard one for me. I'm going to cop out and say 4 because I still think they have the talent that could win. But once they start rattling off losses like this, which you thought they maybe wouldn't be able to do, I get concerned.
I'm at a 6 because I was going to be at a 3 because I was like, you know what? 2023, UConn did this also. And then they steamrolled to a national championship. They had that weird Big East January skid. But
Yeah.
this is later in the season, and that team was also a great defensive team and better balance on both sides of the floor, where this team is very clearly lacking their defense and losing because of it. And it's not just a small skid. They're just losing because their defense goes through too much volatility, and I don't like that, so I'm at a 6.
Yeah, like they scored 67 points in 2 of the last 4 games in an
That's
offense that's
bad.
supposed to be a very high-powered offense and score a lot of points. Like that's concerning to me.
Yeah, it is. Okay, let's get on to the excitement scale, and we have some new teams that we really haven't talked about, honestly, all year. And I think that's a good thing that we're getting to talk about these teams, and maybe they're rolling
Yes.
at the right times. So,
Yes.
let's start off with Texas A&M. They are 17-4 buckyball. They have what's their streak right now? They were 7-3. They're on a
4 in a row.
13. They're 13-1. Oh, nope, that's wrong. They're 10-1 in their last 11 games. They lost at Tennessee in double overtime, but they just beat Georgia, Texas, and a couple other SEC teams. I'm at around a 6 for A&M because I didn't think that they'd be able to be this good versus the middle tier of the SEC so consistently this season so fast at buckyball. But it's working. I think buckyball translates to the SEC better than any other power conference for sure. I still fear that, like, they lost to Tennessee, they lost to SMU, Oklahoma State, UCF. They haven't beaten a good team yet besides Auburn, Georgia, Texas, I guess. So they're going to play Alabama and Florida coming up next, and those are the games where I can get a little higher than a 6 if they can win those games.
Yep, I'm at a 5 for now. I am very bullish on Bucky there long term, but in terms
Right.
of this year, we're going to find out in the next 7 days.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go to the boys. The Aggies of Utah State, their biggest home game of the season. They just beat San Diego State at home, and they beat the shit out of Wyoming before that. They are up to 18-3 and on top of the Mountain West. I'm at a 10. I'm just kidding. I am at an 8.
Okay.
They had a really, really good week. Their defense was the biggest takeaway from me being there and watching them in person. Again, I know they played Wyoming, but Wyoming's right outside the top 100 in Ken Palm. They're not the worst team in the world. Their defense was the biggest takeaway for me. It's been much improved. They even told me, Mason Falslev, Carson Templin, they said the thing that's suiting them up for March and the postseason and just to succeed in general more than last year and the year before that is their defense improving, and it's been so much better. And they have 4 high major level guards that are all awesome. So I think they're the best team in the Mountain West for sure.
We're going to find out on Wednesday because they travel to Eric Olin's New Mexico, who is in 3-way tie for first
That's going to be a game.
with San Diego State and Utah State. I know we're not talking about them. Shout out Eric Olin. I'm at a 7 for Utah State. They're really good. You know that I'm a San Diego State stan. I thought Utah State played a really great second half in that game to kind of take any doubt away.
Yeah, they look good. Even though San Diego State was down a starter, or I think starter and a half, maybe 2. I forget who the other guy was. But
by the way, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those 3 teams win the conference.
yeah, that's fair. And now they might be on the path to getting 3 tournament bids. So
Yeah.
we'll see. 2 more here. Let's go to Kansas. 5-game win streak, their best 5-game stretch of the entire season. They just beat BYU, obviously, at home. It's tough.
I'm at a 5 until the Darryn Peterson stuff is resolved. And it might not be resolved. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'm at a 6.5 because I still hold optimism that Darryn is going to... why am I saying that? Why am I doing that to myself? I want to say that they're going to be like... I still hold a lot of optimism that they're going to figure out how to get him rolling and in the part they need to. Play him 21 minutes a game instead of dump him for 30 whenever he's fully healthy or healthy enough. I'll say 6 because I still have the doubt in Darren's health, obviously. But, man, they have looked good. They're not 20 points better than Iowa State, but it wasn't a fluke win by any means. So they've been awesome. They're amazing at home also. They're on pace to contend for the Big 12 title right now. So,
it's a weird one to be at a 5 on, but again, unless they have their best player, then I'm not there.
It's fair. Last one, friend of the program. We had the head coach on the show. Belmont just beat the absolute shit out of Murray State in what was supposed to be one of the best MVC games of the year. I love Murray State also. They are 10-2 in conference play, and they are on a 6-game win streak, Belmont. They are very clearly, right now, at least to me, the best team in the MVC. They're 57th in KenPom, and they are 2 games ahead of second place, which is Murray State in the MVC.
Yeah, I'm at an 8.5. They're going to win the conference. Has there ever been a team that wants to see Belmont on their bracket in the first round? No way.
I would not want to see a single MVC team at all.
No.
But no, Belmont, if they keep winning at this rate too, they're going to be top 40, 45 in KenPom by the time the tournament rolls around. If they lose a game or two, maybe. But with the lead they have, I'm at a 9.5, because with the lead they have on everybody else in the MVC already, and that second place team being the team they just beat by what could have been 40 or 50, they could have dropped 120 if they wanted to.
Yep.
I'm very, very, very excited for Belmont.
Bear in mind that this is like 2 years ago. It was Malik Dia, Jacoby Gillespie, Cade Tyson. Like,
Crazy.
this is who they're rolling out here.
Yeah, Casey Alexander knows how to coach. That's our guy right there. That's our guy. I should have put that jersey up behind me. That's on me. Shout out to Belmont. That's going to do it for Panic Meter Excitement Scale. Let's get into schedule real fast. I cut it down this week. I don't know if I told you that.
That's good. That's, you know what? Too much homework's bad.
Too much. Yeah, we don't. I never did a ton of homework in school, I'll be honest. So I'm giving you a normally healthy amount of homework to do this week. And also, the midweek slate isn't like overwhelmingly great also. Nonetheless, tonight, Monday night, Kansas at Texas Tech. Tuesday, you have Miami, Ohio at Buffalo, the rematch of what was almost Miami's first loss. Texas A&M at Alabama, and Utah State at New Mexico in the Mountain West. Not great games throughout the week, but Friday, you have UConn at St. John's. I'll be at that one. And then Saturday, you got Wisconsin, Indiana, Virginia Tech, NC State, Baylor, Iowa State, Bama, Auburn. Ooh, Iron Bowl. Love that. Miami, Ohio at Marshall. I think that's a cross-conference challenge they're doing. And then UT Arlington, Utah Valley. Shout out the WAC, the 7-team WAC. Duke, Carolina, Illinois, Michigan State, Florida, Texas A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky, Houston, BYU. And then Sunday, you have Michigan and Ohio State.
Michigan, Ohio State, Bama, Auburn, Duke, UNC in a 24-hour window, my friend.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's pretty crazy.
Sicko schedule.
The sicko schedule should fill your gap on Wednesday and Thursday, which is nice.
Lovely.
Monday, McNeese State at Stephen F. Austin. Wednesday, Furman at our guys ETSU, East Tennessee. Winthrop at Radford at the top of the Big South. On Thursday, William and Mary at UNC Wilmington. UT Arlington at Utah Tech in that 7-team WAC. And then Friday, Belmont at UIC. Saturday, Ryan, we're getting grimy. Stonehill at LIU Brooklyn.
Hey, listen, that's sicko. I love it.
1 and 2 in the NEC. Let's go. Akron at Troy. Don't know why they're playing, but they are.
There it is. It's a MAC Sun Belt challenge. That's what it is.
It must be Troy on the top of the Sun Belt. Akron, obviously,
that's a crazy game.
Highest metric team. Yeah, it's a great game.
It's amazing
in the MAC.
Shocking.
UC Irvine at UC Santa Barbara on Saturday. And on Sunday, we round out with Tulsa at USF, 2 of the teams tied at the top of the American Conference.
Nice. We got to go. Another great week. I can't believe it's February already. Oh, the season's going by way too fast.
Yep. Ryan, I'm going to give you one Q&A just to wrap up here. And I actually think it's a good one because we talked a lot about coaches today. This is from Joe Smith on Instagram. Which first-year coach has been the most impressive to you?
First-year coach been the most impressive. First guy that comes to mind is Ryan Odom, but I don't think he's my answer because I of all people expected this out of him, and I think he's a guy like you knew he was going to translate to the power level immediately. You knew he was going to be good, and the team he built was really good. So I am impressed by him very, very much. Even though this week they almost lost to BC and Notre Dame, but they won both those games. They won the games. That's all that matters. I'd say Bucky McMillan, I think, though, because I mentioned it earlier in the episode, I didn't think that he'd be this consistently good, especially with their play style. It can be a volatile play style and open up for be susceptible to losses, especially in a really tight conference with a lot of very good teams or solid teams. So I'm very impressed by them. They're going to be in the NCAA tournament, and the way they're playing true buckyball style. They could be dangerous, and they could make some noise like they almost did when they should have beat Kansas that one year also a few years back. So I'll go Bucky McMillan at Texas A&M.
Cool. I don't have an answer.
Okay. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Another great week of college basketball ahead of you, so have fun. make sure to like, subscribe, follow, yada yada, and check out the recent YouTube videos on my own personal profile. Also, Utah State vlog, which I think is cool. It's behind the scenes of everything in Utah State and Logan, Utah, where no one gives you behind the scenes look. So check that out, and then also sit down at BYU with Kevin Young after the Arizona loss, kind of outlook for everything going forward. So check those out. Appreciate you guys for tapping in as always. Hope you have a great week. Bye.